Is Friday morning. A lot of people in the past have asked me to do like a get ready with me video. And then before I start my makeup routine in the morning, I'm using, this one is e.l.f. But you know, Smashbox has a great one. There's different types of primers. I always use a primer underneath my my makeup, and it's just, this one feels like satin. So it just, and I just use my hands when I put this on. Alright, now you notice that I also primed my eyelids. The reason why is because I always like to add a good base before I put the eyeshadow on so the eyeshadow will last longer. So not only do I use that as a base, but when I start applying my liquid makeup, I also put a primer, a bit of that underneath my shadow as well. So the next thing that I'm going to use is, look at my glasses because I write it so teeny tiny. I think it's Maybelline, and this is a concealer. I would say it's not a very strong concealer, but it has a little moisturizer bit in the very inside of it, so it goes on really, it glides on really soft, and I just put a little bit under each eye, and then this stuff just doesn't look that great, but I just put that as a starter base concealer, and I'm actually going to use another concealer after this because this one's just, it's kind of like translucent, and so yeah, I just kind of like put that under there. And then next, I've always liked this True Match. It's relatively inexpensive. It's about, I want to say, somewhere around like 10 bucks or something like that for this concealer. I mean, under all makeup, but it's a liquid makeup, and I used to use Lancome, and that was like 30 bucks for like a little, kind of like a creamy thing, and I'd have to get it at Macy's. And honestly, I don't think that was any better. So, and my skin, I found that my skin breathes better, and this matches my skin a lot better. I do have a beauty blender. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just apply this with my fingertips, and then I'd rather use the wedges to spread it with. So I just find it gives me a better even coverage, and the Beauty Blender, I just don't have the pressure thing down yet, and I end up taking too much off, so I'd rather use this. And here's where a little bit more concealer comes in handy. So I'm using one of these concealer palettes. I don't even know who makes this, but I know you can get these at Walmart. I got this one at TJ Maxx. No, yes, I did. And it has different highlighting palettes. There's some darker ones. It's kind of like a contouring palette, but then you have some here that are shimmery, and those I would just put like on the rosiest parts of my cheeks to kind of like bring in a little illumination. So I'm using just like a, what do you call these little thingies, this little sponge wand, and I'm going to go with the lightest, and I just put it underneath the eye here, and I bring it down a little bit, so it's kind of like an upside down triangle under my eye, and I do that under both of them, and then I'm just going to smooth that out. Sorry, my camera keeps wanting to move. Okay, so I just used this little flat brush and just kind of like rubbed it on the highlighted part and put some on my cheeks. Now, what I've heard a lot of before is that as women age, it's good to just use a little bit of a, like a Bare Minerals highlighting type of a powder, because adding a little bit of shimmer to their face actually gives them a more youthful appearance. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a brush and use this Bare Minerals, what is this from? Oh my goodness, I think this is Maybelline, but it might be, no, it's CoverGirl. True Minerals, and I always use it in light, I believe. This is light. So before I usually use this powder, I'm using a big brush to just kind of like spread this powder around. Before I do that, I usually contour, and I didn't do that this morning, but I started using, I've got this one from Target. I'll take a look at the brand in a minute, but anyway, it's like a light half and a dark half, and what I do is I'll put contouring here and here, maybe on the other sides of my nose. I'll put it up here. Sometimes I'll bring it down on my chin. Now yesterday, I put it on, and then I went outside and I didn't realize that something was weird on the side of my face. I totally had it wrong on the side, and it was just all warped out. So in the car, I just had a napkin, and I was just trying to even it out. So apparently, I just put it on too early and didn't know what I was doing. So I won't have any contouring today, but I usually do that a little bit every day. I just forgot. I can't go back now. Right, so the contouring stick was Maybelline Master Contour, and so that's what that is. And when I use that, I also use this wonderful, I forget what it is. It's a what size it is, but it's extremely soft, this little brush here. It's an oval brush, and it's just for blending. It's by Urban Studio. It's just for blending the contouring, and it is so smooth. It feels so nice on your skin. So that's what I use for that. Now I'm just using kind of like a medium brush here, and I'm using like a bronzer by Sonia Kouchak. It's a bronzer, two-tone bronzer, which I use for blush. So I'm just gonna grab a little, and instead of, when people start here and then go back, what I end up with is a huge spot in the front. So what I do is I start from the back and I work to the front. So that's what I do. So after the blush, I put more powder on top of the sides so that it doesn't seem like blush, blush. But, and I used to use a lot of this highlight. It's like a from Profusion. You can see that I've hit it pretty hard. And so this is what I used to use up on the top to shimmer. And sometimes I still do. You know, some of this is one of my favorites. So I'm going to start on my eyes, and I'm going to use some of this Icon Shadow by Absolute, and the palette is just kind of like a neutral palette here. And so what I use is like one of the lighter, a blend of the lighter two here, like a peach and a light, almost like a white, and I'm just going to use that on the right underneath the brow. So I keep turning this off because I have to look in a like 15 times magnifying mirror to get this done, because it is, my eyes aren't what they used to be, my eyesight, and so up close I just need to make sure that I'm not making myself look like Phyllis Diller on acid, you know, and so I may have just dated myself. When we were at the seafood restaurant this weekend, oh my goodness, Walt and I were sitting there, and the waitress was like 18 years old, you know, and so, and when you're like 18, it's like everybody over 40 looks like they're, you know, a senior citizen. And so she came over, and she was being real sweet, and she saw our kids, and she said, oh, are those your kids or your grandkids? And Walt and I about died. We're like, no, not grandkids yet, you know, no grandkids yet. I thought, thank you for that wonderful compliment. No offense to any grandparents out there, but I'm 51 and I'm not ready for that just yet. Okay, so I've got, and I got this one on sale at TJ Maxx. It's a smoky eye mix, and they all have a little bit of iridescence in them. And I keep the plastic covering on there because they get so messy. I didn't want to show you because they're like, it'll all fall apart. They're all like, they're neutral colors, but they have a bit of shimmer in them. So what I'm going to do is, I don't use the sponge tip for this. I actually take another little brush, just a little brush, and then I'm just going to use kind of like a, I don't know, like a mocha color, and then that is going to go over my lid on both sides. Anyway, what do you guys say? I mean, how would you have taken it if that was like one of the first times anyone has ever asked you if you were a grandparent and you're not a grandparent? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I remember one time a woman asking me when I needed to lose a little weight, and she asked me when my baby was due. And that, of course, that always goes over real well. I was a little upset that day as well. Alright, let me take a look at this. Okay, so what I'm using now is kind of a flat brush on one side. It's kind of flared out on the other so that I can blend it a little better. And so what I did was I slightly moistened the tip of my my brush so that it'll hold the pigment a little bit better when I'm working with it. And I have kind of like a plum color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work in my crease. I like my eyes because I have a really prominent crease, really prominent lid, and so I can do all kinds of crazy things with my eyeshadow. But, you know, what I always wanted was, you know, we're never happy, I always wanted almond eyes, because almond eyes can look so sultry when they get made up, and they hold a cat eye really well. And for me, I really can't do a cat eye because I end up looking like I came out of ancient Egypt or something. Doesn't look so well on me. So that's going in the crease and a little bit on the corner on each side, and I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to blend it. And I need my close-up mirror for this, which I really like. But what I notice is when I put it in close to the corner, it gets kind of like, it doesn't look so smooth. So I have this Katy Perry cat eye for CoverGirl, and I put that on the inside here because it has a really nice smoothing tip, and I can make the line look a lot better. And again, if you have almond eyes, this is great for your cat eye. So I am just going to, and I really need my close-up for this, that I'm just going to put like a layer up here of the eyeliner. Okay, so if I were to apply the false eyelashes, I would do it now after I just applied the eyeliner. And so I'm not going to do that today. I like my makeup to last all day long, so that's how come I do layers of things. Because I used to put it on a couple of times a day, and I'm going to be using this mascara. This one it's just Great Lash. I know it's kind of basic. I've used all kinds of other ones, and this one just seems to work just as well, so why not? And I usually use a curler, eyelash curler, before I put this on, but today my eyelashes look just fine, so I'm just going to put this on here. There's only certain eyelashes, if I'm going to use false ones, there's only certain kinds that I would use, and I'll show you those on another video, because some of them irritate my eyes, and certain glues irritate my eyes, and some of them I could have on all day. I found a pair, and I don't remember the name of the brand, but they were from TJ Maxx, and they were 100% real human hair, which it says that when it's not real human hair, but they could still use that title when it's not 100% human hair. It's just a certain grade of non-human hair. Anyway, but they were the most comfortable and natural lashes I've ever seen. I don't remember the brand, and I never saw them again, of course, you know. So I'm going to have to do some looking online and see if anything looks familiar to me. So I usually use, if I'm using mascara, I'll apply one to each eye, let it dry, and then go back and do a second coat. And I don't know how I used to like totally redo my makeup when I was about, I don't know, I want to say about 15 years ago. I think because I didn't have any little kids, and Calvin was a teenager, and I could reapply it all in the middle of the day and look fresh as a daisy, and now I don't have time. I barely have time to button my pants after I go to the bathroom, so let alone redo my whole makeup routine. It's crazy. I don't know what I was doing. Okay, next come the eyebrows. I have foundation on what little eyebrows I have there, so you really can't see any. But I used to really spend a lot on, you know, eyebrow systems. And so now I just use a very simple combination of a CoverGirl eyebrow pencil and an eyebrow, like a cream with an eyebrow brush, so of application and then a brush, and that's what I'll do. If and when I do actually make my goal weight, I'm going to do microplaning and have my eyebrows applied that way, and that'll last for like 6 months, and I won't ever have to worry about it. So I'm gonna have to use the definitely have to use the mirror on this, because I have to measure everything. Okay, so that'll have to do on the eyebrows for now. This is why I wear bangs. So, you know, when I was younger, my mom told me to call in my brother for dinner, and I did, and when I went out in the back door, he threw a rock at my face, and it slashed my eyebrow right down the middle. So it's always grown kind of crooked, and I have a scar, and so it's always been the deal trying to get this one on correctly. And so it's really hard, because this seems to, as I have grown, my face has kind of shifted, and it's pulled up this eyebrow. So this eyebrow is always a little higher, and I'm always trying to get them straight. So, all right, lip time, and I'm going to be using, it's an e.l.f. lip crayon. It's like, I guess it's got a shimmer on one side, and then it's kind of a matte color, kind of a neutral color, and what I'm going to do is just use it for a lip liner. It's really kind of a neutral color, and I can't see what I'm doing. I used to have one of those really cool close-up makeup mirrors, you know, but to tell you the truth, it wasn't magnified enough, and I ended up selling it at a yard sale. Okay, now I'm going to just kind of like fill in the rest of my lips so that it'll act as kind of like a base, and a base color. It's really, it's just like, it's not going to come off. It's a really good base. And now I have Maybelline Clay Crush lipstick, and that is like my everyday color, and that goes on top. So that's going to be my day's color, and I'm pretty much done at this point. This is like just like an everyday look, but I am going to add just a little bit more of, you know, like a powder on top, because it seems like by the time I get done doing my makeup, I get a little, you know, the lights are kind of hot, I get a little sweaty or something like that, and I just need to set it a little bit more. So I get that powder up on top, make it go into the brush, and that way I'm not like totally poofed out when I first do that. And then I'll just put it all over the place, and I'm pretty much good to go right now for the rest of the day. And now it's time to go and do my hair. Look at that, my bangs are all worked out now because I had them back. Alright, see you in a bit.